There you go. You are live.
Welcome back to the Endure Athletics podcast. My name is Eric Fisher, longtime supporter and guest host today. We have True Kraner, Cory Gray, full-time staff with us today. We're looking at day-to-day relationship building, events, memories, experiences, kind of on-the-ground stuff today. Get the eyes and perspective of people that are there on a daily basis, and I'm pretty excited about that. Some good stories and experiences through that. And I want to first start by kind of giving you the floor, both of you, however you want to break that up, by saying, how did you get started with Endure Athletics?
Okay, well, I'm Cory Gray. I'm the assistant program director. I got started with Endure Athletics, I think in about 2016, 2015, that area. And I was there for a few years as a volunteer, left for a few years now, kind of settled back into a full-time staff role. Man, this has been an awesome experience. I remember the first day I came out there, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to take all these kids. I'm serious. And I saw how amazing each and every one of them were. And that's what really kept me there.
Yeah.
Now I left and I came back, and so there's something missing there, right? And I really enjoyed working with the kids. I got to watch them grow, got to watch them develop, and I wanted to continue to do that. And I reached out to Joel, and he was like, yeah, come on back. So
Yeah.
It's always nice.
Yeah, so you were there at the very beginning in many respects.
Right.
Kind of Saturday mornings playing with the kids, and then you're here now helping it to this next level.
Yeah. So I mean, I've gotten this. So when I left and I came back, I got to see all the kids that were little kids that were like in elementary and middle school. I could see them all in high school and college.
That's crazy. Yeah.
And they were being successful, and they're great kids. Now I get the chance to, we have, I think, approximately 75-ish kids that we serve right now.
That's amazing.
And all different ages, but I'm looking forward to get to see each and every one of them continue to grow.
Yeah.
Now I get to watch them forever, seems like.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to it.
Build that family bond. Yeah. We'll get more in depth about why you stayed and some of those cool experiences you had. But True, what about you? How'd you get into it?
So I graduated with a marketing degree 2018, Richmond, Virginia. Was in that corporate life for 3 years and really was there for myself, right? It was a self-focused me. I got to make this amount of money. I got to do this. And it just got so much where I was forgetting what was outside of me.
Right.
And then about a year ago, I go to New Vision Baptist Church here in Murfreesboro, and Endure Athletics was the New Year's or Christmas Eve offering.
Okay.
For the whole service, and New Vision gave over $100,000.
Wow.
To Endure Athletics.
That's amazing.
Talk about God being at work.
Yeah.
I saw God at work. Joel was up there receiving the check, and I looked up, and I'm like, that guy looks very familiar for some reason. His daughters and my little sister are track and cross-country teammates at Siegel Middle. So I've seen Joel at the cross-country meets and the track meets over the past couple of years, just around. And he's a great father. He's supporting his kids. And I'm like, I want to know a little bit more about that. And so meanwhile, in the middle of all this, my head, God is just hitting in my heart, serve.
Yeah.
Serve. Right. Put God first in your life and see what happens.
Yeah.
And January of last year, so 2021, I reached out and said, Joe, I want to help whatever way you want. I want to volunteer. I want to help with the kids. Joe had me come out probably mid-January, exactly a year ago probably, and I got to see face-to-face what it was all about.
Yeah.
You can hear it. You can hear about it all day, but until you actually come out and see what we do, it's mind-blowing.
Yeah.
And I fell in love with it from the first moment I stepped onto that field Saturday morning. Met Corey, met Miss Jeannie, met all the 40, 50 kids that were out there that morning. It was a cold January morning, and I fell in love with it. And then over the next few weeks, kept on volunteering. And then Joel and Jenny approached me and said, Drew, we'd love for you to work full time. Talk about a prayer answered for my life specifically. and also for me to see that there's stuff outside of yourself.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then here we are almost a year later.
That's amazing. Both of those are great origin stories, getting things started, kind of the door opening through a variety of different avenues. And quick shout out, because you mentioned New Vision. New Vision is awesome and always been a great supporter, but certainly experienced community and so many churches in town and all over the place that buy into this program and plant those seeds of hope and open doors for individuals like yourself to get involved. So that's really amazing. But it's also one thing, and I know obviously as full-time staffers, I'm speaking to the choir here. It's one thing to volunteer and check that box and feel good about yourself on Saturday morning and get a different story and maybe write a poem about it or something. It's something entirely different to invest in it and put your life in their shoes and come alongside. So why did you stay?
Okay, so why I stayed is I get to see every day. I get to go to their homes every day.
Yeah.
Right. So I go pick these kids up. I see what they're living in, and some of them are doing fine. Some of them, but a lot of them are just, the conditions are just terrible. And I want to give them the chance to get out of that every second I can, get them doing what they need to be doing, give them the opportunities that they deserve. And that's why I stay.
Yeah.
I really want to show them that. I want to be able to mentor them. I want to be able to instill that growth mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really why I stay.
Yeah. Yeah. That's powerful. True. What about you?
The reason I stay is specifically I want to be someone that these kids can look up to and be, oh, wow, I have a chance in life. I feel listened to. I feel loved. And I want these kids to feel loved by somebody here.
Yeah.
It's me, Corey, and everyone who come in and has contacts with these kids. The reason why I stay is because these kids need love.
Yeah.
They need something in their life that can get them out of that little square foot motel that they're living in or whatever and give them a chance to be a normal kid. That's why I stay.
Yeah. One thing I talk about a lot, and it sounds like you're kind of echoing the same sentiment, is that children and adults, but people in general, I think, need permission to dream, permission to see something different in their lives, regardless of what circumstance they have. And what I think Endure does, along with so many different resources around it, is says not only are these circumstances the end for you, but there's something else. There's something else that could be spectacular, growth oriented, and successful in your path. And we want to come alongside you to do that. And there's a lot of things that go into that, of course, right? So you can't just say, you can dream and then walk away, right? Like the Bible says, living faith is not just like be warmed, be full, and then walk down the street. There's work that's involved with that. And Corey, you touched on two things I want to camp out on, if you guys don't mind, and maybe some stories that go along with that: growth and mentorship. Okay, so mentorship is a huge part of Endure Athletics. I've been around for several years in volunteer capacities and kind of popping in back and forth. And mentorship is a huge aspect of that relationship building. Can you expand a little bit about your role and maybe some stories that you've seen that have been beneficial on the mentorship area?
Right. So there's a big difference between teaching and mentorship,
Yeah.
right? Teaching is telling someone what to do. Mentorship is leading them to do what they're supposed to do, right?
Yeah.
So I can tell you, we were at the Experience. We go to Experience on Wednesday nights with our middle school kids, and we have some high school kids that go too. And one of the high school kids, I saw him back there, and the whole time I'm thinking, he's in the back corner with people not paying attention. So I go over and talk to him, say, hey, what should you be doing? And he came over there. He stood by me forever, and he was just thinking. And I told him, I said, hey, do what you think is right. And eventually he came back over to me, and he's like, well, can I bring them over here with me too? I was like, that is the best decision you could make. Go do it. And to me, that's a mentorship role is, hey, let them make those decisions.
Yeah.
Every now and then they're not going to do it right or make the right decision, but it's when they do make that right decision that kind of clicks. And there's older kids, especially, we're starting to teach them what maturity really is.
Right.
And that's just one of those cool stories where you say, hey, this person did that. That was amazing.
That is really cool. What about you, Trey?
I think one of the coolest things about this job is when our kids ask us questions about who God is. Who is Jesus? I've never heard of this Jesus guy. I don't even have a Bible. What is this? How did God create the earth? Who is God? These people, these kids don't know. And so we're the first people to present Christ to these kids. And last night, one of the kids asked me, True, how do you accept Jesus into your heart? That is why I do this too.
Yeah.
Right? If we're not pointing to Christ and we're not having Christ-centered mentorship as well, you can mentor all day long, but if you don't point to Christ, what's the point?
Yeah.
If you don't plant the seed of who Jesus is and what Jesus can do through you, there's nothing there. Right? But also, Christ mentorships comes with accountability, comes with hard questions sometimes of, hey, you got to do a 180 here. If you don't, this is your decision. It's not mine or Corey's decision. It's your decision. If you choose to go this route, this is the consequences that can come with this.
Yeah.
But if you make this 180, look at what's ahead.
Right.
And that's also why I'm here.
Yeah.
Is to be a light and to help and to show them love that they don't have, and for them to spread that love as well to others.
Yeah. Yeah. I love the delineation between teaching and mentorship, the difference that's there, but also I appreciate you bringing it back to Christ-centered mentorship. And what better example of Christ-centered mentorship is Jesus himself. You know,
Right.
He's bearing witness to the name of God. He's showing all these things. He says some wild things at times, but evokes questions so that people can try to figure out what's the right thing to do. And I have seen that being around Endure, and I can certainly feel it in both of your experiences sharing that and the importance of it. So it's one thing to kind of believe in mentorship and point to Christ-centered mentorship and try to involve that into people's lives. But can you share a little bit more about that structure, that consistency, that kind of love and discipline and the growth that comes from that? Do you have any kind of thoughts about that?
So I can start. We had a kid. He was pretty new to our program. It was about a year ago, and he was having his issues. I mean, he's a teenager or going into being a teenager, and of course they hate everyone, right? And one day I know he came up and he was really being kind of disrespectful, and of course I'm gonna correct him a little bit, right? And I know that he had to take a little bit of a break from us, honestly. It was a time where he needed to kind of figure out what he wanted to do. And I remember him, like I come pick everybody up, and he came out and he apologized to me. And it kind of clicked then, like, okay, yeah, I have to show other people respect. And you can tell it clicked in his head. Like, no problems ever out of him. And you can tell he's a leader. Right. He may not be a big vocal leader, but he actually shows, hey, this is what you probably should be doing. Right. You shouldn't be bouncing off a wall somewhere and hitting someone in the head with a football or something random. You should be paying attention to what you're doing, be respectful of what's around you, but also show people how to have some fun.
Yeah.
And still be competitive, because it can be done right. And I think he exemplifies that. So those are the things that, really, the discipline, how it can start out. Yeah, they're not going to like it,
right?
But they're going to eventually see that there is a light there, and yeah, we can have fun. We have fun with everyone, and do the right things, And
it's not cracking their whip for discipline's sake. You're doing it for a reason, right?
No, I actually, it's one of the things I really hate doing, but sometimes it's necessary to give them a light correction every now and then.
Yeah, because of your love for them. I mean, you build that relationship. It's not just like, man, we're here. Let's lay down the law so they know what structure looks like here at Endure Athletics.
So like I'll tell them, say, hey, I love each and every one of you guys, and I really do. I mean, I care for each and every single one of them, and I want them there with me, and I want them there doing what they should be doing with a group, because we have a big group mentality, right?
Yeah.
You'll watch that because they have a lot of love for each other too.
Mhm.
Because you'll notice that they all, even when we go out in public or we're hanging around other kids, they all seem to group together, and they take care of each other, and that's just freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Just to see that. I mean, it's amazing.
It really is. Yeah. Any stories about mentorship you got, True?
Especially with our elementary kids, it's kindergarten through 5th grade. We have what's called mentorship and growth mindset, right? So these kids are going through a growth mindset training. We have different 20-minute, I would say, I don't know what to call it, classes, 20-minute something, where they have stations, 20-minute stations, right? And so one of the stations is involving growth mindset. And it's, hey, is this a fixed growth mindset or is this a growth mindset? If you think this way, why do you think this way? Versus how can we think a different way? Because our own enemy is ourselves. If you think this about yourself, it can just dive deep into your brain. Versus some of these kids don't know how to grow. And so when you try to fight the grain, it's all me, right? I'm pity party for me. Hey, let's get you out of this mindset. Look at how you can grow from this. And also seeing their growth over the semester. We were out a few weeks with the snow and everything between Christmas and New Year's. And when we finally got back a couple weeks ago, it's probably been a month since we've seen the kid. 3 weeks probably. And just seeing the growth, and everyone was so excited to be back to program, back to the day-to-day. That was so awesome to see, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's really cool. And I'm going to share a little story too from my experience. This is several years ago now, but really stuck with me. We're playing a Saturday morning, and there's one kid that didn't get a pass during the game, and he really just physically shut down. You could just tell his disposition changed dramatically, and he went off by himself of his own accord, but sit by the fence. And I just felt compelled of nothing else outside of just I saw this kid kind of wander off alone, and I went over to him, and I didn't leave his side until I felt like he knew for sure that he could bounce back, that our team needed him because of his abilities, not only of his abilities but his leadership and his presence on the field was helpful, and it clicked in a sense that he may have experienced love at different times. I think we all do, regardless for circumstances. But I think that the easy route for him was to say, "Man, I'm useless. I'm worthless. I'm not needed here. I'm just going to go sit in the corner, on the side, out of the way." And I felt like it was something that I wanted someone to do to me, to come get me and say, "No, I do need you, and you're really, really important." So I felt compelled in that sense, and seeing his growth, that particular young man grow over the next several months, was just amazing to see. I'm not taking any credit for it, but it's just the infrastructure of what Endure stands for, and says, not only are you valuable, but we need you a part of this group to build something really strong, and then impact the world around us, really. And create new realities. So I appreciate you both sharing that kind of mentorship piece, and giving some context to the day-to-day structure of what Endure does. It's not just organized babysitting or a love hangout. There's a lot of really cool structure and plan that goes into this, with the thought of where are we going? How do we change our narrative together as Christ-centered mentors, believers, and all that comes with it. So, wrapping up this particular episode, we could talk for hours probably about these fundamental and transformative stories, but I'm really curious, just because you're full-time staff and you see these relationships growing, you see these high schoolers becoming prospective college students, you see these young kids moving along this spectrum. Where do you see, or what are you excited about the future of Endure Athletics?
So we're going to continue to grow.
Yeah.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Yeah.
All right. We want to keep serving more and more kids. And one of the things that I really want that they're kind of lacking right now is I want to give them ownership in something, right? So right now we bounce around all over Murfreesboro. Okay. We partner with a local church. They help us out. They give us a place to go. Wednesday nights we go to Experience for Eon and Encounter. And we get to go out and travel to different places. But one of the biggest things that they're missing is a home, right? And I think getting that home first and foremost is going to like say, hey, well, this is our place. It's really important.
Yeah.
They don't have a place, right? And it'd make it a lot easier on us too. And we could actually serve more kids if we had them in a stationary place.
Sure.
Right. That doesn't take away from all the enrichment activities that we do. I mean, we've been to Dollywood, we've Nashville Shores, we go all over the place, and that's still going to happen. But still having that one place there that says, hey, this is mine, and I'm going to take pride in it, and I'm going to welcome everyone that comes in.
Yeah.
You know?
I can see that now. I can vision cast it. It sounds amazing.
Right.
Love that.
Yeah, I seriously see Endure in every single city in the United States. Every single city. Holy Spirit willing, right?
Yeah.
And it's through the connections that we make on a daily basis. It's through churches. It's through the local church, right? That's ingrained in the community that this will grow. And we just have to be open to it.
Yeah.
You know, and seeing this grow is going to be incredible. And all it starts is just a little seed, and watch the seed grow.
I love that. Love that. From a local vision that makes a whole lot of sense to a broader, nationwide, international, Lord willing vision of impacting the lives of people in our communities is beautiful. And those seeds are being planted, I think, in large part because of your cooperation. So I thank you guys for being a part of that, and as full-time staff, and believing in the mission, but more than the mission, believing in the kids that you're alongside with. And I hope the listeners have been able to pull the curtain back a little bit and see what you do on a daily basis, not just the interactions and play, but the structure and the mentorship and the love and relationship building that goes into it, and inviting Endure Athletic kids to say, there's something great for you, and we're going to do it together. And so with that growth, obviously, I hope the listeners can share this episode and share all the resources that Endure has. If you're a supporter already, awesome. If you're not, these testimonies, these stories are powerful, you know, and I think that we would be remiss to say that we wanted you alongside this effort. We wanted you to come alongside and continue kind of harvesting these type of stories and promoting, so that we can grow both locally and internationally, Lord willing. So thank you, Cory and True, for joining this episode of the Endure Athletics podcast. Appreciate you very much.
Thank you
for having us.